Good afternoon, Abbotsford residents. I'm Mr. Pelican. I'm running for Mayor of Abbotsford. I'm also interviewing people that have, in the last couple of days, for council that are coming forward. They're seeing that I'm looking to run council. So I'm interviewing people that are running for council. I encourage you. There's some people that ran last time that want to try it again. I'm hoping Barty Sindhu will. I want to tell you that Barty Sindhu at the sports center when Abbotsford first said I grabbed Sandy Blue on the whipper-whapper, saved me from sex allegations. A person like that is very, 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 very important to this community. After I saw what happened to Mogel, the South Asian, so I encourage Barty Sindhu, for her culture and our culture, honest people, to step forward. So I'm holding this and interviewing people. I want you to be a voice now, not in the end, and say, here I am. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm at the Abbotsford News. It's well documented that I'm coming in to Abbotsford to get the RCMP unless they get here faster. Of how Henry Braun owned the Abbotsford Task Force, how investigators refused to come and talk to witnesses, how money was stolen out of the city, how Henry's son was involved in lifting jobs, collaborating, racketeering in Abbotsford Council. We know that. That is all to deal with law enforcement and proper people. The RCMP have an investigation team. They can go after your phones. They can go after your emails. They can search your corporations, your companies. They can search kicks. They can search who's partners in Diverse, who's partners if Ron Funk. They can search Quantum Projects. They can search it all. But I want to outline something today about the news, Abbotsford News. When Darren Braun showed me Rick Rakes, the former pro editor, Tyler Olson and all this, and Rick, Henry's best friend, Henry needed to silence the newspaper. If he silenced the newspaper and had it on its side, he would scandal everybody. Darren Braun was showing me that. I took that to the RCMP. I made the RCMP a little wager. If I ran, Vicky Hopes was going to do what Darren Braun said. He said, prove it. We have a police chief, so I want to outline something. We have a police chief in Abbotsford, Colin Watts, that allowed his guy to smash my phone and my camera. I believe it wasn't Watts doing it. I believe Henry phoned that cop and said, we need to get Mr. Pelican off of social media. But that cop made an allegation to jail me and put the boots. I respect professionalism. If Watts in the Safety Investigation Standards Act would have came out and assured that guy's gone. I saw what Keelan Olenoff did when he said he went to Henry's house for break-ins. Why are I at the newspaper? The Abbotsford newspaper directly shielded from the Abbotsford residents of what was taking place in order to cover up, to help keep the establishment in power. I believe, in my opinion, this was directly to block the law. That means they had to be paid shush money. So I want to explain, and I know how great the RCMP are in finding these things. You can see that the Abbotsford newspaper has not mentioned that there is no assistant police chief. You can see that the Abbotsford newspaper hasn't mentioned the great leaders of Abbotsford have not promoted the new building, not at one time. You could see the Abbotsford newspaper has been paid shush money not to harm Ross Siemens while Henry keeps him in there. So let me explain. Quantum Projects, Marcus Dalvis ran Abbotsford first. That was in the Abbotsford News. Dave Sadu, Kelly Shahal, Patricia Dreesen, Mark Morcanty sat and owed Marcus Dalvis to rush his project through on the 30-story tower. Abbotsford News made it convincing that this is a great project, this is in the best of the interest of Abbotsford because it's for their friends, Vicky Hopes. When Abbotsford News attacked Bruce Bamman, it was a one-sided way. When she went after Alec Nival, it was a one-sided way. So why are I in front of the Abbotsford News? I believe, in my opinion, the Abbotsford News directly used its outlet and its media outlet to try to shame people and try to put me in shame and tried to hold me from coming forward from the law from seeing. Tried to shield that Henry was owning the Abbotsford police for his threats. We know the Abbotsford News knew that Henry got in his Alexis car, proceeded to come to a protest where Abbotsford residents were protesting that him and his son and Ross Siemens were involved in a scam on a job site that damaged homes. And she failed to write that. And there was a judge in Abbotsford that told me, knowing that you're going down this route, you might use violence. He said, Mr. Pelican, there's two ways to get the truth. The peer pressure of law and alcohol. I see Vicky Hopes now in post drinking. Be very careful, Vicky Hopes, when you're drunk. Things will come out. We don't want them to get out. There's a lot of people working with Mr. Pelican. Too many. But what is more shocking is this. Ross Siemens is a slate of counsel with Dave Sadoo. What took place the other day on $12.4 million for Ross Siemens to take out of the city's funds without in the official community plan, without any oversight, between him and council in the back meeting with Peter Sparanese. Inflate your taxes are going up. There was no proper due diligence for the city or manager to say, we're looking at approaching this building because we're going to put the homeless in it. Or advise the community. They went in a backroom meeting and they stole $12.7 million. You could see, not in my opinion now, that Vicky Hope's whole story of her newspaper was to block that, to haul Ross Siemens in. Is it not true what Darren Braun said? When Henry said, you write one thing to Tyler Olson about me, I'll bankrupt you. The Abbotsford News was brought online by Henry Braun to keep it alive. It owed Henry Braun. I saw what it did to Bruce Bamman through the chicken manure. I saw what Henry did to Councillor Mogill with the task force threatening him. I saw what the newspaper did to Eric Nivel. I saw all this with my own eyes. I wanted to be front and forward to show you that the Abbotsford newspaper, Vicky Hopes and Ken and the people that worked there, believed that the newspaper's poll was enough to overweigh the Criminal Code of Canada and do what it was doing, the justice system. Henry Braun is the mastermind and the ringleader behind it all. I knew that when I went down this road. Take him out, get him out of here, and everybody collapses, even Vicky Hopes. I made these podcasts so the RCMP and CSIS know whose phone to go after, who to look at, and they'll look at people like Vicky Hopes and Ken, and this is a clear black and white picture of knowing what she's covering is directly, it's called deflecting, but directly covering from Abbotsford taxpayers, Abbotsford voters, and it's to keep Ross Siemens in. When Henry ran a new official community plan and was setting it up with Ron Funk in the verse, Vicky Hopes failed to say that Ron Funk is Henry's partner. She failed to mention that Henry Braun had his son in front of him, and when he stepped off and excused himself, Ross Siemens allowed Henry to put his son there to push the job sites through for his dad. That's still collaborating this insider trading. She failed to mention all this. It is a given that what should be on the front of the top of the newspaper is Abbotsford Henry Braun's newspaper. That's a given. I knew that. I want to mention one thing, Vicky Hopes. I want you to hear, I want Ken to hear. Everybody can see the disconnect with Abbotsford. You can see it through your Facebooks. You can see it with the BC Conservatives. You can see what Vicky Hopes did at all costs with the Abbotsford News to go at Suk Mangill. We advised Suk Mangills that she was coming down this route, and that was to load Mike Dion, and Mike gets in, he could halt all this. The RCMP have to come into Abbotsford, Vicky Hopes. Threats on people's families, taking an election, stealing tax dollars, but you were a major cause of covering from Abbotsford residents the truth. Nobody in any uniform I started these big podcasts should get away from covering up things against families or criminal acts from our justice system. An Abbotsford judge said, nobody's above the law, Mr. Pelican. Nobody can use the law, Mr. Pelican. No one can bend the law, and no one thinks of the end. Vicky Hopes, it is clear to Abbotsford residents how much shush money did this newspaper get. I'm adamant of bringing the RCMP in. Why? Because it was a foregone conclusion when you blocked me. It was a foregone conclusion when you tried to slander me and pull me down to help Ross Siemens. It's a foregone conclusion as you can see you around Ross Siemens. I would ask you today, Vicky Hopes, is Ross Siemens filing for a divorce because it looks like you're trying to be more involved with him than his wife is? You're defending him to the end. You have no choice, Vicky Hopes. You have none. We know Henry's the engine and the driver behind it all. Henry got in his car, tried to end my life. He used his connection, his political connection, and our Abbotsford police. And he persuaded them to do this for him. But you took the action by your own hand, Vicky Hopes, in your own newspaper to cover from Abbotsford voters, Abbotsford taxpayers, and that only spells one reason you would do such a thing, even on the 12.4 million. When you're toasting and you're holding up champagne, that's such money. Abbotsford taxpayers should have been aware of it. I'm live, Abbotsford, British Columbia.